person that she is falling for, it's not supposed to happen. So I don't know how this is gonna turn out, to be honest. Hello, welcome back. Let me tell y'all, my emotions have been everywhere lately just because of my mind and life, life doing its thing. And I think it's about time that we just sit down and read a freaking book so that we don't have to think about all the stress and about just life things. Like, I just want to get lost in a book, and I haven't done that in quite a while because I've been saving my books for this video. So yeah, welcome to my very first reading vlog. The 3 books that we're going to be reading in this vlog is going to be Twisted Games, which I actually already started. In fact, I'm almost done. Yeah, I only have like a little bit left, literally just a few pages left. I'm probably also going to be going back and kind of like rereading some of my tab pages and doing some post annotations because I think that is just so much fun. And I've taken a very, very long break from this book, so I'm gonna need some time to kind of get back into like the world and the story and like think about all of the emotions that I went through while reading this book so that I can give you some proper thoughts on Twisted Games. Next, we are also going to be reading Mistborn. So this book, I borrowed it from a friend. I actually borrowed it back in April, and I have only barely made some progress, guys. Like, this much. And I don't know what it was, but I was having such a hard time getting into this book. I think it might have been because this is written in third person, and all of the books that I've read prior to this were all in first person point of view. So I felt a little bit like detached from the characters, but I really don't want to give up. I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish the entire series, but I really want to finish this book no matter what. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about Mistborn, but maybe that's just because I haven't been in this book space for that long. So yeah, if you have read Mistborn, finished the series, or any other books from Brandon Sanderson, let me know your thoughts on them and what you thought about it. If you think it's like worth reading into, I don't know, just let me know your thoughts. Last but not least, I am so sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but I am a total liar. We do not end up reading A Court of Mist and Fury in this vlog. We end up reading another book instead, but do not worry because I will make it up to you, I promise. This whole entire blog is going to be spoiler free. However, if you want a spoiler filled, full read through reaction, thoughts about this one right here, I'm going to be doing a separate vlog for that where I just go in on all the tea. That's going to be coming up after this video, I think. But yeah, I'm so excited, guys. I am super freaking stoked. So let's just start reading. I think I'm going to be starting with this one because we just have to finish it, and we're going to do a little bit of annotating, and then I'm going to come back to you about my thoughts on Twisted Games. has been a couple of days, actually almost a week. It definitely took a lot longer for me to come and update you guys, but I was so busy with birthday festivities because it was my boyfriend's birthday and my birthday, so we did all of that. But on the bright side, I did finally finish Twisted Games. So before I get into my thoughts about Twisted Games, I just want to give a little summary, a general premise about the book for those who haven't read it yet. So Twisted Games follows our two main characters, Bridget and Reese. This whole time, I've been calling him Rise, just the same way that I've been calling Ryzend in ACOTAR, but whatever. We're gonna go with it. Reese is this very stoic, broody, strong, but very closed off, kind of mysterious ex-military man who is hired to be the personal bodyguard of Princess Bridget. I was a little confused about this at first, but think modern royal family. Bridget is very strong-willed, very hard-headed, and they do not get along at first. I wouldn't say that this story is an enemies to lovers because they're not really enemies. They're more like they just find each other irritating. It's a forbidden love type of thing plus close proximity since Reese is her personal bodyguard, so they're together like all the time. But yeah, that's basically the general about. So I really enjoyed this book. It was a very, very entertaining read. It had me screaming, it had me blushing, it had me kicking my feet and giggling all the time. This book has no fantasy, no adventure. It's really just pure romance. With that in mind, it was actually still very entertaining to me. I'm not gonna lie, in the beginning, what really kept me going was the spice, the banter, the tension between the two, and I didn't really care much for the plot because I didn't know where the story was going at all. Obviously, the main characters are gonna end up together somehow, but aside from them finding each other very irritating and one of them being very stuck in their ways and their rules or whatever, there wasn't a real problem yet until chapter 11 when they introduce it. And then after chapter 11 is when things start to pick up a little bit and things start to get interesting. But overall, I really enjoyed the book. It was very entertaining to read, so I would give it a 4 out of 5. Alright guys, I have been putting off this book for way too long. Way too long. Like I said before, I had a really hard time getting into this book for some reason. I think it might be because of like the point of view. It kind of goes back and forth between the characters a little bit, especially in the beginning, which is very confusing. And I think that's why I was having a hard time getting through this book. I even marked down at what point of the book I thought that I would finally get that buy-in where I'm like, okay, like I'm all in the book now. I even had my boyfriend also guess. So for Chris's guess, it's on page 200. For me, I guessed 250. So yeah, later on we'll get to see which one of us was correct in terms of like at what point of the book I'll finally really get into it. Maybe it's earlier, maybe it's later, who knows? So I didn't get a ton of reading done, but I did read a little bit more, and I also reread a couple of things just because it's been so freaking long since I've read this book and I needed some refreshers. There's a lot of annotating, at least at first, because it is a fantasy. There's like a magic system and there's a whole bunch of characters that is getting confusing, so I had to annotate so I can like make sure that I'm understanding everything. There's definitely a lot of like going back and forth because the first time I read the beginning of the book, all of the information, like all the characters and the plans that they were talking about totally went over my freaking head, and I had to read a little bit more and then go back and reread, annotate a little bit for me to fully understand. And now I think I'm at the point to where I'm not like all in on it yet. but I think I'm getting there. I'm learning a little bit more about everybody and like the magic system in the world, and it's getting quite interesting. So let me give y'all a little summary of what I know about the book so far and my thoughts on it. So Mistborn follows our two main characters. There's Vin and there's Kelsier. I think that's how you pronounce their names. This world that they live in is pretty divided at the moment. You're either a Ska or a noble, like a nobleman. There are Ska that kind of live a very, very like humble life. People are kind of like struggling out here, low-key. And there's also plantation Ska, which, yes, like basically like slaves. As you can see, it's like the government and the high-end, like up there, like rich people, and then everybody else. Also in this world are people called allomancers, and they basically have this ability to burn metal that they digest, and that gives them the power to like enhance either the physical or their mental capabilities. The thing about allomancers though are that they are typically, usually supposed to be like nobles. It's supposed to be kind of like an inherited possible trait down the line of like noble families. However, because of things like rape or prostitution or whatever it may be, like all the very corrupted things, because of that, half-blooded people are born. And half-bloods are not supposed to exist, especially if you're a half-blood that's also an allomancer. You're usually gonna get found out and they basically kill you. But guess who has them? Our two main characters. So they're like half Ska and half like noble somehow. So our two main characters finally meet, and we also meet a couple of other people, and they all make a small elite team. And what they're hired to do is to basically overthrow the ruler. It's a rebellion is what it is, and it's a huge deal. I mean, I guess in any world it would be a huge deal, but even more so in this one, because to the people in this world, the Lord Ruler is basically kind of like God. But yeah, I'm guessing that's what the whole entire book is going to be about, the rebellion, or at least the start of it. Things are getting slightly interesting. I'm learning more about the magic system, which is super, super cool. And it's just really interesting, very creative. Oh, another update is that I actually got gifted a Kindle. Like I said earlier, my birthday was earlier this week, and my boyfriend actually gifted me a Kindle. I never really thought that I'd be a Kindle girly, but I have a feeling that I might really like it. As much as I love my physical books and annotating in them, I don't know, I feel like it might be a lot easier to read in bed with a Kindle. But yeah, I'm super excited to use this. I'm very grateful and thankful that he got me this as a gift. It was very sweet and thoughtful of him, but it doesn't have any accessories yet, as you can see. So I got some, and they finally came in. So I'm gonna show y'all. Here is the package, and we're gonna open it up together. We got her a case because she obviously needs a case. It kind of feels weird holding it naked. She's naked. Also, if you're curious, this is the 11th gen 2022 model. You already know we had to have a pop socket. It's super cute. It has a gold frame, and it's kind of iridescent, like very shell-like. The blue-green here. I don't know if you can tell. Then, low-key, my favorite part that I'm most excited about is the stickers. This is a 50-piece sticker pack that I got from Amazon, and then I also have a couple of other stickers that I just happen to have on me that I think I'm just gonna like mix and match everything. But yeah, we're gonna set all of this up together, and then we'll get to some more reading. Hey, it has been a minute, but we have made major progress, so I thought that it'd be time to update you guys a little bit. So first of all, we have definitely surpassed our little mark where we had guessed we were gonna start getting into the book. Right now we are on page 416, so we are definitely more than halfway through, and we have about a third of the book left. My guess on when I would start to actually get into the book is a lot closer than Chris's guess, so there's that. There are two events that hooked me into the book, and at this point there's just no going back. There is no way that I'm going to DNF this book, because at that point I just had to see it through. I kind of hate to admit this, but the first event was us meeting our potential love interest. Now, I really didn't think that there was gonna be any romance in this book at all, like not even a drop. I didn't think that it was just like gonna be relevant at all whatsoever. But we met our potential love interest already, and he's quite interesting. Okay, obviously romance isn't like the major plot of this book, but it still does add to the story, and I think getting involved with this love interest is definitely going to kind of complicate things a little bit, because the person that she is falling for, it's not supposed to happen. So I don't know how this is gonna turn out, to be honest. I don't know. It's gonna get complicated. He's really intriguing. He's not really like everybody else in the noble society, so I think that's what interests me and why Vin is interested in this person. We're in this really iffy area because we don't know if we can trust him or not. I don't know if I told you this last time, but one of our main characters, Vin, her role is to basically infiltrate like the noble society, and her job is to basically gather information and is essentially a spy. So her whole existence, or what the noble people know her to be, is not really real. That's one of the reasons why this is gonna get complicated if it actually goes anywhere. Anyways, the second event is one of the most thrilling moments in this book so far. It kept me on the edge of my seat, and honestly, I was terrified for our characters and what they were going through. Like, that's all I can say. Earlier in this book, it is basically made known how dangerous what they're doing is. Everybody talks about how crazy the plan is and how high the stakes really are, but like actually seeing it happen and seeing the consequences of their actions, it's terrifying, okay? But yeah, those two events really hooked me in, and at that point we just couldn't go back. Everybody in this book has like secrets or like a history, and I love learning what everybody has been through, especially in the world like this where it is just not an easy life for a lot of people, especially for the people on our side. So learning everybody's story and what they've been through in their life, I don't know, I slowly get attached to everybody, and I feel like I'm kind of Vin in that way, where we're learning just like she is about everybody's story, and we're slowly beginning to trust everybody, and we're getting comfortable, we're becoming content with the people that we're with. And I don't know, if someone dies in this story, I think it'll break me. It'll break my heart. But yeah, I love seeing Vin become closer to everybody and seeing their relationship grow, and seeing her growth as well is really, really cool to see. Without giving specifics away, that's all that I can really say right now. I'm loving the book so far, and I think it won't be too long until I finish this book. I only have a third left, and I feel like at this point things are starting to pick up. There's not a lot of info dumping or like world building anymore, so I think it'll be a lot easier to read from here on out. Oh, and another thing, I know I said that I was gonna read A Court of Mist and Fury in this vlog, but I think we're gonna change directions, just because Mistborn took a lot out of me, especially in the very beginning. Every time I read, I felt like I wasn't making a dent in this freaking book. It's so long. I really just want to put this video out already, and if I read A Court of Mist and Fury in this vlog, I'm scared that's gonna take way too long. I really want to try out my Kindle for the first time, because I have like a 3-month like free trial right now, and I want to read as much as I can before that ends. So I think we're gonna read Twisted Love next. after this book, because we just need something different. I don't really want to read a fantasy book like back to back right now, because I think it's gonna take forever. So there's that. I'm sorry, but I feel like that's the direction we're gonna go. However, that Court of Mist and Fury vlog is definitely gonna be coming out next. Let's talk about this book before I forget. I really don't even know where to start. Mistborn has made a bigger impact on me than I had expected it to. It's a great story. Remember, I almost gave up on this book. I said,
I'm not sure if I'm gonna finish the entire series.
And here we are. I don't even know what to say. There's just so many things I want to talk about. So many great things about this book. And I'm having trouble putting them into words. Maybe I am not ready to talk about this book yet because I don't know what to say. I just need to write it out a little bit, kind of sort out my thoughts, sort out my emotions, my feelings. But just know that this is a great book. It really is. As hard as it was in the beginning for me, I'm glad that I made it through. I'm glad that I finished this book. So yeah, we're gonna come back around at the end. On another note, we have been using our cute little Kindle, and I am obsessed. It is so easy, and I love using my pop socket. I don't know why, but I've been sleeping. I have been sleeping on pop sockets. They're just so much easier. They make it easier to carry your device. And this is the very first one I've ever owned. The exposure is just not doing it for me. See? She's cute. Look at her. I love her. She's so cute, very lightweight, easy to carry around, easy to read in bed, read on a couch in all different angles. Because when I read in bed, I have to do this thing where I'm like maneuvering. If I want to lay on my side, I kind of have to like figure out a way to hold my book while still being comfortable. But with this bad girl right here, we don't gotta worry about all that, okay? It's just so easy, and I absolutely love it. I'm a Kindle girly now. It does allow you to annotate and stuff like that, but it's really just not the same. It's not the same as having like the tabs and you writing on the sticky notes or writing on the book. For me, I like to write on sticky notes. Nothing beats the physical annotations for me, but the convenience of a Kindle, yeah, no words. I love my Kindle. Anyways, that is not what I was trying to say. What I was trying to say is that I've been reading Twisted Love, okay? Let me give you a little premise. I've also realized that I'm so bad at doing these, and I feel like I tend to ramble, so I'm gonna give you a couple of words. This is a brother's best friend romance. Very cold, emotionless man and sunshine girl together. That's what it is. That's really all it is. And why does everybody have childhood trauma? So far, in both of the Twisted books that I've read, everyone just has childhood trauma in one way or another. I guess it just makes things a little bit more interesting, you know, because who really wants to read a book where everybody's like doesn't have something going on? You know what I mean? There just has to be drama. So yeah, all of that childhood trauma, that's what this is. I'm loving the book so far. It's cute little read. It's easy to read, a lot easier than reading a fantasy book, but people probably already know that. One thing that I have to say, the couple in Twisted Games and the couple in Twisted Love have a lot of things in common, and it seems a tad bit repetitive. What sets them apart really is just that they have different childhood trauma. Aside from that, though, it's a cute read, good spice. I think Twisted Games has better spice than Twisted Love, but we are only on page 235. We're 69%, 69% finished with the book. So, I don't know, maybe there's more coming. in the future, but spice-wise, Twisted Games has better spice than Twisted Love. Maybe I'll change my mind. I think that's all that I have for now. I've only read Twisted Love for 2 days, and we're already more than halfway through, so as far as like the ease of reading, you can tell that this is a lot easier to read. Honestly, I could probably finish this book today. Maybe not. Maybe by tomorrow. By tomorrow night, I'll have this book finished. I'll have my thoughts on Mistborn. So yeah, I'll see you in the next update. Okay, so I lied. I went to go take a shower and got ready for bed, so that way we could just knock out after I read tonight, because I really think that we can finish this book. We have 69% of the book done, but I think that also includes like the acknowledgements and all the other stuff that's not the story. So we're probably a little bit more than 69% of the book done, actually, story-wise. And I don't think it's gonna be that hard at all to finish this book. So we're gonna read. We are gonna read tonight until we're done. Alright guys, it is finally time to wrap up this vlog, so let's do a little recap and do some final thoughts on the books that we read in this video. First up is Mistborn. I think I said this earlier, but Mistborn made a bigger impact on me than I thought it would. The magic system is really cool, and the way they use their magic is so creative. Action scenes were well written, and it kept me wanting to read more. And like I said, I just thought it was a great rebellion story. Above all though, the characters and the relationship development between those characters is really what made this book great, to me at least. I remember saying in the beginning that I felt detached from the MCs, but man, by the end of this book, the tables turned on you, and I became more attached to these characters than I would like to admit. And not just the main characters either, but just the group as a whole. With every character backstory that we learn about, I just felt myself getting more and more attached, and I just felt like I was part of the crew. There were a couple of things plot-wise that I saw coming, but even then, it still messed me up. And I would like to think that I'm pretty good at guessing plots, but the plot twist at the end, I would have never guessed that. And by the end of this book, I just felt so set up and manipulated. Mr. Sanderson, he had you thinking. He had you thinking that you knew what was gonna happen, like you were in control, but you're not. You're not. Here are a couple of cons though, because we like to be honest. You already know this, but it could be a rough start. For me, it was a rough start, and that has to do with there being like a hard magic system in this book, meaning that there are certain rules that the magic follows, and they write about that in here, especially in the beginning, and you learn about that. So it can feel a bit info dumpy on top of multiple characters being introduced. That can get overwhelming. And you're also learning about the world and like what's happening in the world and like the state of society. All of that together can feel like a lot in the beginning, but I promise once you get through all of that, it gets a lot easier. One other thing is that this book had a really nice conclusion. It really did. It was concluded in a way that felt like it was wrapped up and neatly tied into a bow. It almost concluded too well, if that makes sense, because I was very content. I was very satisfied with the ending, and it didn't make me feel like I had to urgently read the second book right away. That may be a good or bad thing depending on what you like in your books and how you like your endings. I don't know, but yeah. There is a tad bit of romance in here, and it is kind of like instant love type of thing. Although in a lot of situations I wouldn't have liked that, it really didn't bother me that much because I wasn't reading for the romance anyways. It was just like a nice little thing to add on, and it made me enjoy the book a lot more. Aside from those three things, I really enjoyed the book, and I would give it a 4.5 stars. Moving on, let's talk about Twisted Love and Twisted Games. Twisted Love first. Let's talk about the cons. The book was very okay. A little bit above okay, I think. I just wasn't really obsessed or attached to the characters or them as a couple as I wanted to be. I think because I read Twisted Games first, Twisted Love just didn't feel like anything new or exciting. There are 2 plot twists in this book, and the first one did kind of catch me off guard, but once you figure out the first plot twist, the second one is very predictable. And I'm actually surprised that she chose like the second plot twist to be something very similar to the first one. So yeah, those are my cons. Some pros, it's a cute story. It was a really easy read. I read this in 3 days in comparison to Mistborn. It was very easy. It has decent spice, and I actually thought that the characters in Twisted Love have a better backstory, but that's really just because the childhood trauma is worse in this one. But I liked it. If you like possessive, protective, morally gray men, then you will probably like this book. Overall, I would give Twisted Love a 3.5 stars and 3 chili peppers for spice. I almost want to say 2.5, but we're gonna give it a 3. Okay, Twisted Games. We've had a bit of time to kind of like rethink some things, so there are some thoughts that I changed my mind on. I think the only con about Twisted Games for me was that the plot twist was very predictable. The buildup of the tension between the 2 main characters is really nice, and Reese just had more personality than Alex, in my opinion. I reacted a lot more. It evoked a lot more emotions, and it was just overall a lot more fun. That might have something to do with the fact that I read Twisted Games first, so everything in Twisted Games was new to me in terms of like the people and the world and like the setting and things like that. And I do wonder if my thoughts would be any different if I read Twisted Love first. I don't know. If you read the Twisted series in order, let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you feel the same way as I do, or if you actually like Twisted Love more than Twisted Games. I almost wanted to rate Twisted Love higher than Twisted Games because of the backstory, but like I said, overall, entertainment-wise, Twisted Games was just slightly better than Twisted Love, and the spice is better. So Twisted Games, I would give a 4-star rating and a 4 spice level out of 5. Yeah, that is all I have for you in this video. I'm super excited to do more reading vlogs and to just read more in general. So definitely look out for some more reading vlogs in the future. My next video, I think will be like an autumn, like cozy fall video. But after that, you better believe that A Court of Mist and Fury, it's gonna be out. You're gonna get all the tea, all the reactions, everything. So yeah, I'm super excited. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this helped you out. If you've been meaning to read any of the books here, if you want to talk about the books, if you've already read them, if you have any recommendations, put it all down in the comments below. I love reading comments and I love talking to people about books, so put them all down there, and I will see you next time. Bye.